What's up, everybody? Welcome to the second segment of the Shakeback Sports Show right here on the Big Game Christian Sports Network. It's your boys holding it down, man. We got the full house backfield -1. Willie Epteen Jr. in the building with my little big brother, or my little brother, Marshawn Powers. What's going on, man? It's been a minute since you've been on the Shakeback Sports Show. What's up?
Man, chilling, trying to stay sane. Chilling.
What you mean you trying to stay sane? This Deshaun Watson situation got you like that?
They trying to kill my quarterback, man. Like, he all right, man. I literally, before we I was getting into a big argument with what do you call him? I guess you want to call him a journalist. He felt like because he got a blue check next to his name, he could just disrespect Browns Nation, So I had to let him straight, Yeah, I mean, okay. Some of the facts you ain't read, you can't be out here. I'm gonna say what he said, I'm gonna actually send you. He might have blocked me by now, but he said some wild stuff about Deshaun Watson that kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
All right, well, let's get to it here in just a minute, man. Before we move any further, we got to pay the bills. And, of course, we are still celebrating 10 years of being in the biz. Who is we? We is the Big Game Christian Sports Network. That's right, baby. 10 years of debates, 10 years of opinions, and 10 years of sports talk that's lit. Celebrating 10 years, just in case y'all didn't know, it's been 10 years of just flat out getting it done. We are the BGC Sports Network, a.k.a. the Big Game Christian Sports Network, and I have so many stories being involved with these dudes. They even funny. I could do a whole show, Marshawn, on just stories alone. But anyway, we'll get to that another time. Just in case you missed it in the first segment, we did pay homage to the legends, two of the greatest legends really to ever grace the face of the earth, and Vin Scully and of course Bill Russell, both passing away within the last 7 days or within 7 days of each other. God rest their souls and God bless their families and all those that are connected to them. All right, so let's get to this Deshaun Watson thing because we got breaking news essentially on back-to-back days. Of course, the suspension was handed down by Sue L. Robinson, or Roberts, or whatever her name is. What's her name, Marshawn? Robinson, right?
Sue L. Robinson.
Sue L. Robinson. I know who she is because y'all know who she is, but she handed down the suspension of 6 games. And everybody, well, I shouldn't say everybody, but there's been people on like multiple sides of the aisle that had their hands up in the air saying that this was not enough. You had other people saying that it was too many games. Marshawn, before we actually get into the appeals process, is it too many games, not enough, or just right?
It's just right, man. Like, listen, at the end of the day, Judge Sue L. Robinson, who's a federal judge, outlined that the CBA states that it would be unfair to give Deshaun Watson anything over 6 games. So that's what the CBA states. That's not what she pulled out of her rear behind. That's not what she got in her cup of coffee. That's not what, she swam in the Delaware Sea and found. That's what it states in the CBA. Right. She even called Deshaun Watson, which I kind of think that language that she used kind of was a little bit extreme in calling him a predator. Because when I think of a predator, I think of somebody else. I think of something else, But she called him a predator. She even said, there, based on the four people that were interviewed, there's fact finding that Deshaun Watson may have done something of sexual assault. Does it mean that he did it with violence? No. She even outlined that he did it non-violently. So she also said that he did it non-violently, and she also even said that the NFL's policy is not strong enough. She said what she said about Deshaun, but she also said that in so many words, said that the NFL's policy is not strong enough. It doesn't outline the actual punishment. She said that anything over 6 games is, in so many words, I don't want to say unconstitutional, but unfair is a better term.
Unfair.
Unfair. So I feel like the NFL now seeing that, okay, it came out. A lot of people weren't happy. A lot of people on the other side, because myself, and other Brown fans were already like, all right, cool. Week 6, we can take that. That's nothing. Let's
Mm-hmm.
get that. Let's get that and done and over with. And then it came out, oh, the NFL is going to appeal, and now you're appealing with another judge. Like, that's a slap in the face to Judge Sewell Robinson, who both sides appointed to appeal. And because what, she didn't fine him with some money. You feel like, oh, he got off for playing a year, which, in my opinion, like I said the other day on Her in the Huddle, I feel like he was unofficially suspended last year. It wasn't like the NFL had him on the commissioner's list. It's not like the Houston Texans came out and suspended him. They just didn't want him at practice or at games. Isn't that considered holding him against his will in some term? No.
No, no. I'm gonna address that question first. They didn't play him because they knew that he was not going to play for them ever again. So why throw him out there onto the field in the second most, or even you could say, arguably the third or fourth most violent, or one of the top 4 most violent sports in the world? Why would you throw him out there to risk what you could get back in trade value? They weren't going to play him, not just because of the whole situation with the sexual misconduct, because they didn't want to lose their leverage in terms of what they could get back for him in trade bait. But go ahead.
Okay. But it's still, so they still unofficially suspended him last year, in my opinion. And then now you want to come back and say, oh
10
well,
years of opinion.
6 games is not enough. Like, that's ridiculous. That's absurd. So now you leave it in the hands of a judge. I don't even remember this judge's name. I don't even care to remember this judge's name, but you put it into the hands of a judge that has worked with the NFL on numerous occasions. Like, the NFL
Okay. Let's get to the appeals part of it, because we've talked ad nauseum about the 6 games, not necessarily on this show, but on Her in the Huddle, and we've also talked about it on the Ballers Report that is available on YouTube as well as iTunes, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. But this is for the Big Game Christian Sports Network, and we're going to talk about the latest news first. So yes, I was trying to, I couldn't remember the new judge's name either, but what I will tell you this is this Deshaun, or Marshawn. I almost called you Deshaun. Deshaun, man, I'm shawning. This guy, this honorable judge, is on the diversity committee for the NFL. He is handpicked, quote unquote, by Roger Goodell. Roger Goodell does not want to be the one individually himself that's going to be making the call on this, because the owners have him in their pockets. He works for the owners. And I think, and I actually have heard this, Marshawn, that a lot of owners around the NFL, as a matter of fact, there's 32 owners in the NFL, or really 31, because Green Bay, they don't have an owner. But there's 31 other owners in the NFL. And all but about maybe 2 or 3 of them are happy, or were happy about this contract that the Cleveland Browns gave Deshaun Watson of all guaranteed money. So,
who are
since
these teams that was happy?
I can't say. I can't say, but I'm telling you what I heard. And I don't know how accurate it is, but if we put it to the smell test or the hear test or any taste test of the senses, it kind of it I could see why it would potentially go this way, simply because if the owners, if those other 30 owners do not like, or were like up in arms because of this fully guaranteed contract extension for a guy who has all this baggage sitting behind him, they're thinking that, you know what, we could be losing our cachet. We could be losing a little bit of our power, because this dude has all of these allegations and has settled 24 of these 25 civil suits. But the Cleveland Browns, in essence, and Jimmy Haslam, turned against the good old boy club by doing this, and now the other owners are upset. So now they're in the ear of one Roger Goodell. So who do you think Roger Goodell is going to go with at this point? Is he going to go with the two owners or the one owner that is not really tripping about it because it's the owner that signed Deshaun Watson? Or is he going to go with the other 30 owners? He's going to go with the other 30 owners, to include Robert Kraft, who has issues, Jerry Jones, who has issues, Daniel Snyder, who has issues, Shad Khan, who has issues, and I can just go down a list of more. But I'm just saying for those four right off the top of my head. So, with that being said, and the collective bargaining agreement could not be an agreement without both parties agreeing to the terms. So, the players, of which Deshaun Watson, of course, is a player. I don't know if he was the player rep for the Texans or what, but whoever the player rep was for the Texans and all the other player reps across the NFL agreed to this. They said, okay, this can happen. So can we really fault the players when they got in the sandbox with these owners and they signed this? I'm going to tell you what happened. They didn't ever think that it was going to come to this. They didn't ever think it was going to come to this. They couldn't have. And then when you have a female, a lady, a woman who is well qualified to do everything that she's doing and has done with this case, comes back with an amount of 6 games, that is a slap in the face of what they were trying to do. So they have to do that. They had to appeal it. Now, they were pushing for a 12 or for a 1-year suspension. 1 year. So basically, this dude that Roger Goodell has implemented or put in place to really be the one that's going to be taking the heat and going to be giving the heat to Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns and all their fans, he's going to be that guy. But Roger Goodell is going to kind of be the indirect blow, if you will. And whatever this dude decides is what it's going to be. Now, do we think, or do you think, not do you hope, not do you wish, but do you think realistically and reasonably that they're going to get a year for Deshaun Watson?
No, they can't.
They can. No, they can. They
cannot.
can.
They
See,
cannot.
I asked you not to do
cannot.
that. I asked you not
They
to do that.
cannot.
I said reasonably
And I'm reasonably telling you they cannot. Because then that would set Deshaun them up for a lawsuit, because in Judge Sue Robinson's paperwork, in her return, it says giving Deshaun Watson a year will be unfair. So that right there, but that right there is a line for lawsuit. They can take that to court.
They're going to file the lawsuit. We already know that. But when you say they can't give him a year, they absolutely can. That is the CBA. That is what they agreed to. See,
the max penalty, but it says in the CBA the max penalty. It says she said the max penalty. She said the most egregious penalty for this crime is 6 games. She said
that's her ruling, though. That's not in the CBA. That's not it, Marshawn. Listen, I'm not saying all these things because I want Deshaun to get a year. I need you to understand that. I don't want the dude to get a year. If it was less than 10 games, and I was shocked. But if it's somewhere between 8 to 10, I think that would be somewhere of a happy medium for a lot of people, but maybe not for most other people. So what I'm saying to you is this, bro, is that even though Sue Robinson rather, came down with that ruling, by you saying that they can't give him a year, they can do whatever they want. And it may be unfair, and it may be immoral, and it may be all those things that fans of the Cleveland Browns don't want to hear. But to say that they can't is just not accurate, and they can. Now, will they? I don't think it'll be a whole year. I think it's going to be like 8 to 10 games, what I thought before. Or they may come back and say he's suspended indefinitely. But in order for him to come back, he got to do A, B, C, D, E, and F. And after he does those 6 things, then the suspension is lifted. I would actually push for that rather than 8 games or 10 games, because if it's an indefinite suspension, it sounds bad, but he could have all that stuff done that they're asking him to do within 6 weeks, and it'd be the same amount of games anyway. And whatever those six items are, to include donating to charities of sexual misconduct, arranging speaking engagements, doing stuff in the community, wherever it is may be that can allow him to show contrition. Because I don't care what they say. If you're settling these suits, yeah, you're wanting to get it over with, but there's some smoke there, and which means there's some fire, Marshawn. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. I'm just telling you, based on the legal standard of it all, they can't do it because Deshaun Watson could take the NFL to court. And you'll be seeing Deshaun Watson play week 1 then.
And that may be true, and that may be what their strategy is, because if you remember what happened with Zeke Elliott a few years ago, he was suspended. They appealed it. Then he wasn't suspended. He played. Then he was suspended again. And then he played again. And then finally the ultimate decision came, and then he missed the last 6 weeks of the year. So, okay, he may play week 1, but to say that they can't, it's just absolutely not true, bro. It's just not true. And you're speaking from your emotions, dude.
I'm not speaking. I'm speaking with facts. It's facts over feelings.
But it's not.
And
correct.
the fact states that according to this CBA that they agreed to, they cannot. That 6 games is the max penalty that they could give them.
That's not in the CBA.
Yes, it is.
The number of games is not in the CBA, dude.
Yes, it is. She literally states that. So you telling me this judge pulled 6 games out of her rear end?
I don't know where the same way.
But she says
hold
it.
Up,
she says it. She literally says it.
But then, okay, so why didn't Ben Roethlisberger get 6 games?
He did get 6 games,
but it got reduced
to 4.
Okay, exactly. So why it should have? Okay, so it should have stayed at 6.
He got it. It got at 4 because he never got acquitted in court.
Okay, so where does it say in the CBA where if you gamble, which is going against the integrity of the shield, you get suspended for 17 games? That's not in the CBA, dude. That's not. The amount of games that they have to miss, the number of games is not in. They can't legislate that, because every punishment or every case is different. It's a case by case basis. Now,
I mean, Pete Rose is indefinite. I mean, Pete Rose had the boot for how many years?
And that's wrong.
He bet on the game, and he knew that was wrong. He knew you cannot bet on games.
Okay, but still, there's okay.
He knew you can't bet on the game.
We coming up against the break. We're coming up against the break. We got to take this break, man. But we're gonna finish this up on the other side. Then we're gonna get into some. Well, what's it gonna be? I asked some questions, or I asked a question about who's gonna be the top 5 quarterbacks at the end of the year. Not right now. Come on back on the other side of the break. The dopest engineer in the game, Big Day, Marshawn Powers, Willie Epstein Jr., Shake Back Sports Show. Y'all come on back and holler at us.